What's going on, everyone? So, the Lakers played the last game against the Portland Trail Blazers, and I think that this could be a really good game, in particular for the kind of end of the rotation role guys, like kind of some of these key guys. I imagine the starters are going to sit, as well as likely Dorian Finney-Smith and Jared Vanderbilt. At least at the time of recording this video, we don't actually have who all is going to be out, but I imagine a large majority of our rotation is going to be out. But I do think that this will be really good for some of the other key guys, like if Gabe Vincent plays, for example, even a guy like a Shake Milton, like even these guys that you're not really thinking about, Alex Lynn, I think this could be a good opportunity for him. Kind of like, again, the back end of the rotation, the guys that, kind of like the tail end of the bench even. A lot of key guys. I'm sure you're going to see a lot of Bronny, things like that, but I do think that this is a real good opportunity for some of those role guys, because you never know whose name could be called, or certain circumstances, right? Look at the 2023 conference finals run, for example. You had several kind of key factors that came. I mean, you had the Lonnie Walker game, right? Like, I look at guys like a Shake Milton. I could see him having a Lonnie Walker game where he comes out, we kind of need some scoring, and JJ just kind of throws him out there and he ends up dropping 18. I think this could be really good for Dalton to connect, to kind of let him get into a rhythm, start letting him get into a better flow, right? I don't think Dalton Connect's going to play much, if at all, in the playoffs. I think in certain spots, certain areas maybe, or like I said, if you're just, you're having one of those like poor shooting nights, right? Maybe you can just kind of inject Dalton and see if maybe he can kind of get going. Maybe he can knock down a couple threes. Also, it's one of those, when it rains, it pours. Sometimes you just kind of need that one guy. You see it all the time. It's like the snowball effect. Like one guy just starts, hits 3 threes in a row, and then all of a sudden that that rim just opens up, and then it just, everyone starts clicking. So, I could see some stuff like that where, you look up and maybe you inject a Dalton Connect, or like I said, a Shake Milton, and he goes and gives you like that Lonnie Walker game. Gabe Vincent, we need him to get into a rhythm. He had this like great stretch. He's kind of cooled down a little bit. It'd be kind of nice to kind of let him go out there and just kind of get some reps up and get going into the playoffs, right? Because obviously today will be the day that we find out who are we matching up against. Who is that team that we're going to take on that we're going to face in the first round? It could be Minnesota, it could be the Warriors. There are some, like, depending on how things fall, some trickiness that could happen, but it's looking most likely like it's going to be Minnesota or Golden State. I'm okay with playing either. I personally, and I've said this, I would actually prefer to play the Warriors. I just think the Lakers match up better against the Warriors. I think the Lakers will beat Minnesota. Minnesota doesn't have the offense, which is concerning for them, right? And the Lakers have always defended Anthony Edwards very well, right? But I do think Minnesota does pose some challenges, right? Rudy Gobert, Naz Reid, Julius Randle gives them like a good kind of 3 big rotation down on the inside that can match up and give the Lakers some problems. Golden State, they're the only team that doesn't have the interior presence to really punish us on the inside, right? They're not the only team. Like, all these other teams have like big imposing centers and stuff. So I like the matchup against the Warriors. I know people are worried because the Warriors just recently beat the Lakers, but again, regular season and postseason are not the same thing. Lakers had about as bad of a game as you could have and still had a chance to win that game, with Pods having a career night and Draymond Green hitting 2 threes when he came into that game, 4 of 21, right? Like, I'm not really worried about, the Warriors personally. Maybe hindsight is always 20/20, right? So, maybe I eat my words at some point, but I trust the Lakers to get it done against the Warriors. But regardless, right, I imagine most, if not all, of the key guys going to get some rest, which is good. Lakers desperately need some rest. Lakers desperately need kind of this opportunity to regroup, refresh, kind of get their bearings under them. Obviously, get some good practices in, get some good walkthroughs in, kind of work on some stuff, start preparing and gearing up. Once we know who we're going to play, start working that out and figuring that out. But overall, I like the Lakers just allowing these role guys and kind of, again, back end guys to get some opportunity here and play some heavy minutes, because again, it'd be nice to kind of let those guys get into a rhythm, because you may end up needing to slot those guys in at any time. Again, if we play in Minnesota, you might need an Alex Lynn, just because Rudy Gobert, you just need a big body on the inside. right? So you might just need that guy like Alex Lynn to start getting some reps and start, hey, because you might need to rely on him in a spot. If Rudy Gobert is just killing us on the inside, you might have to throw an Alex Lynn out there just to see if you can mitigate some of that. Right? I'm not talking about him dominating us, offensively. He's not this like skilled post, like I'm just going to go drop 50 tonight type guy, but he is a guy that can generate a lot of rebounds, offensive rebounds and stuff. So, you might need a guy like Alex Lynn to kind of use just his size to box out, rebound, get the occasional putback or things like that. So it'd be nice to kind of just get him some minutes out there, let him play 30 minutes and just see what he can do. See how he can kind of, maybe get into some flow, get into some rhythm and benefit the Lakers. Like I said, a Shake Milton, let him start getting some reps, getting some opportunity. Even Bronny James, let him play 30 minutes. Because like I said, you never know. Knock on wood, in a perfect world, everything goes perfect. All your rotation guys are great. Everything's good. You sweep the gauntlet and you win an NBA championship. But more often than that, it doesn't go that way. And Steve Kerr has this philosophy of like, it's hard to, say next man up when that supposed next man never gets to see the core, right? It's hard to go like, I haven't played in 3 years, like real minutes. And it's like, well, hey, now we need you to play 25, right? It's just like, it's hard for those guys, right? So I think that this would be a good opportunity for some of those just in rotation guys, your 7th, 8th, 9th guy. And then also getting some of the back end players on the roster, even like a Markieff Morris, right? Markieff Morris has got good size, good strength. He can knock down the 3 ball on occasion, right? There might be some times where, and I'm not even talking about injuries or anything like that, right? Like Rui gets into foul trouble or something and we need some size. Got a guy, a Markieff Morris that you could throw out there that's just a vet, understands his role, plays his role, is not going to do anything. Like I said, maybe, Austin Reaves gets into foul trouble one night and it's like, hey, we need to inject some offense. So you throw in Shake Milton. It doesn't have to be any like catastrophic thing, which again, knock on wood, but sometimes it's just, hey, this moment or a guy's just, man, Gabe Vincent's having a bad game. Like, do we want to stick with him? Where in a regular season game, you might stick with him. But in a playoff game where every game is so valuable, every game is so crucial, it's kind of like, hey, let's see what, maybe we throw Bronny out there for some defense and see if he can kind of, hold his own for a little bit. Or, man, we need some more shooting out there. Hey, let's, Connect had his last game against Portland and, he looked like he was in rhythm. Hey, let's get you out there for a couple minutes and just see maybe he can, spark some fire a little bit, right? Like you have, another 7, 8 guys that, are likely not going to see many, if any, minutes. But you still want those guys to get as many reps as possible. You still want to put those guys in the best position possible. You still want to get more, in my opinion, more so like Gabe Vincent. Like, are they going to sit literally everybody and just run 6 guys? Probably not, right? But maybe they limit some of the, like a Gabe and stuff like that. But even in the minutes that he's out there, right? Like, let's say that they sit basically your front 7 guys. Or let's say they sit, LeBron, Luka, Reaves, Jackson Hayes, Rui Hachimura, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Jared Vanderbilt, right? Because those are kind of like your 7 biggest pieces, right? So maybe you go with like a Gabe Vincent, Shake Milton, Markieff Morris, Dalton Connect, and Alex Lynn. And that's your starting 5. Like, that's good for those guys because all of those guys may end up needing some quality minutes. Right? You might get to a point where you might need those guys in your rotation, kind of operating and just spot minutes. Right? You want them to be in the best. You want them to kind of gain some confidence. Right? And you're not playing like a Boston team who's playing all their starters and are probably just going to beat us by 40. Right? You're playing a team in Portland that you might actually even be able to squeeze out the win. Right? If Dalton Connect has a good game and Gabe Vincent has a solid game and Alex Lynn can be competent out there and you kind of just go down the list of like, hey, like Lakers could squeeze out that win and just give you some confidence. Right? But just to get guys into a rhythm, right? You saw Luka looks in rhythm. Austin Reaves has shot the ball well. Dorian Finney-Smith has been shooting the ball well. LeBron James is starting to get his rhythm back, right? Like, it's good. You want your main guys to have that, but it'd be nice to kind of have some of the more back-end guys getting the same opportunities, getting the same kind of, just reps in. outside, because you can't replicate in-game scenarios and in-game pace and time. Like, it's just, you can shoot 1,000 shots in practice, you can do all these things, but at the end of the day, right, like, the best opportunity is when you're actually in a game, kind of work on some stuff, work through some stuff, kind of get a better understanding of stuff, because you never know when that number might need to be called. Like I said, the Lonnie Walker game is a great example of that. The dude was completely out of the rotation, and, we were kind of grasping for straws. And, to Darvin Ham's credit, don't say that often, but to his credit, he kind of just threw him out there and it worked. Right? So you never know. Like, you might have that moment. Like I said, a guy gets into foul trouble, or a guy's just having a bad night, or just the team as overall, just something isn't clicking tonight. And maybe you can inject that guy that can kind of turn things around. So anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass the question to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? Feel with your thoughts. Do you agree with me? Disagree with me? Kind of mixed in the middle. Either way, love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Helps me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.